Select a memory card. Select a file. Select a file.
Let's start over, John.
Select a character.
Let's get him!
Oh yeah, Eddie Money passed away. How's it going, Rex? I have a funny story where my wife was actually yelled at in a hotel by Eddie Money. But the audio okay for you guys?
Oh yeah! This is happening!
It was... My wife was working in a hotel at one point, and I guess Eddie Money was staying at it, and she was like working at the help desk there.
What's up?
And like, apparently like she was working with some customer, and Eddie Money was like waiting, and he like yelled, "I'm Eddie Money." Oh, game's louder? Alright, let me go ahead and turn down the game audio a bit, thanks. I know if that's better. Oh, thunderstorms were there? Oh, that's fun.
Lock on target, man! Ready? Fire! Oh no! Our weapons are useless! Retreat!
Our weapons are useless.
Oh yeah! This could be fun!
Remember the first time I played this game? It was in a Software Etc. and they had this demo on loop in the kiosk there. It was awesome.
Hey, I'll play with you some other
You know who I am? He's Roxy Bitter. Well, no, he's literally just yelled, I'm Eddie Money, and then just walked away. My wife was like, who's Eddie Money? I actually, when she told me the story, I'm like, who is Eddie Money? Like, oh yeah, 2 tickets to paradise and
Where you going?
take me home tonight.
You know nothing, fool. It's chaos, the dawn
God of destruction. God, I always love the freaking main world theme for this game. Hey, it's Simple Doom. What's up, man?
Huh?
Will probably still suck. Yeah, I think you can almost guarantee that it's going to be awful.
Tails? Watch out!
I don't know. I'm debating with myself because my daughter, she's a bit over 2 now,
Tails!
and for whatever reason, like I don't have that much like Sonic stuff in the house, but my daughter is utterly obsessed with him. To the point that like I went on a business trip and I brought back a this like Sonic poster in hard plastic, and like she just carries it around and like talks to it and all this stuff and just loves it. And so I was like, oh crap, okay. So I'm really debating about whether or not I want to take her to the Sonic movie. But if I do, I'm going to be like, it's just going to be that awful screaming kid in the back. So I'm really debating. I think it'd be fun, but yeah. I'm just not sure she'd do it, even though she is basically obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog, though. Twisted Metal. I don't know, I feel like Twisted Metal's kind of a hard game to go back to. I haven't checked out the PS2 ones in a long time, but I played the PlayStation 1, like 1 and 2, not too long ago, and like those were pretty rough titles to go back to in terms of controls and how they played. Tyler, how's it going? What's in the chalice? A Red Diamond Merlot. Yeah, aren't they like remaking the wait? They're like remaking the Doom movie or whatever, and it looks even worse than the bad one from like what 2005? Vigilante 8. Vigilante 8's a pretty fun game. I remember playing Interstate 76, the game that came with the this Microsoft Sidewinder joystick back in the 90s. That one was pretty awesome. Because it was kind of like Twisted Metal in a way, but you could modify your vehicle with the weapons you wanted, stuff like that. It was pretty fun.
Jump on
I always hated this part in this level. Like, I feel like these pads just ruin the flow.
Jump as soon as you land on a panel or else you'll fall.
We almost got a live-action Twisted Metal movie. Oh, Nicolas Cage. Oh, man. That would have been fantastic. Nicolas Cage, just freaking Sweet Tooth. That would have been nuts. Direct a streaming movie. A streaming movie, okay. Yeah, visually, I only ever really played that one on the N64. Still played pretty well, though. Of course, Cage, Sweet Tooth. Man, would have been perfect. Make the Doom Marine a small framed woman. Make a huge deal out of it.
Just crash like that.
That was a test run using a new prototype Pulsar. It's got a few bugs to iron out.
Why not just use my plane, the Tornado?
Yeah, not sure why they took Doom and decided to try and gender swap it, but yeah, I don't know.
Whoa! A Chaos Emerald.
Just based on what I played Doom 3 a bit, never really got into that. I haven't played the latest Doom at all, but I just don't remember there being a whole lot of story. 'Cause John Carmack's philosophy for shooter game design is that it's like a porno and the plot just doesn't matter.
Gotta come over to my workshop, Sonic. I've got something I've gotta show you.
John Carmack being the guy who created Doom.
Mystic Ruin. The fastest
Like John Romero.
prototype train. Let's go.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I've heard good things about Doom 2016. I just haven't gotten around to playing it yet.
The train headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
How about MF Doom, the rapper, stars it? I'm not familiar with him, Tyler. That would be... Just find a random rapper to play the Doom guy.
If it isn't Sonic!
Look, it's a giant talking egg.
Science! I am Dr. Robotnik, the greatest scientific genius in the world!
Whatever you say, Eggman.
Enough! I've got big plans! And now I'm gonna put them to work!
You're always up to no good. Now what do you want?
I want all of the Chaos Emeralds! Better not interfere! Or else!
Or else what, you big loser?
Or else I'll take them from you by force! The hard way!
PS1 Adrenaline Junkie, Sweet Tooth. I used to remember the commercials for Sweet Tooth back in the day, or for Twisted Metal. They played the whole creepy clown aspect pretty decently. I think some marketing that came off pretty good. Oh, yeah, I played the crap out of Twisted Metal back in the day. I remember playing all the characters, trying to get the right endings and all like Warthog and all that, and the weird twists that the guy would play on people.
All systems, full power. Ah! All systems, full power. Ah! He's not gonna get away with this. All systems, full power. Ah!
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Do you remember what character it was in Twisted Metal? His like special attack was the missiles that could go through walls. You could basically just lock onto anyone across the map and just murder them without even moving. The cars have more character than the people in those games.
Well, that wasn't so hard. Oh no!
Come on, Chaos. Time to eat.
Chaos? Oh no, isn't that the same monster I saw the other day?
Yeah, because before they were called Chaos Emeralds, they were called what? Time Crystals or something like that in the Sega CD version?
It's just as the stone tablets predicted. His strength increases every time I feed him a Chaos Emerald.
Hey, Retro, what's up, man?
All 7
How you doing?
He'll be invincible and work for me. Together, we'll destroy Station Square.
Calypso.
I'll build Robotnik Land, the ultimate city, where I will rule it all. Come on, Chaos, let's find another emerald, shall we?
Well, got some preliminary stuff started on that. So I'll definitely have something by the end of the month.
We can't let him get away with this, can we?
No way, Tails.
Without more emeralds, the monster can't transform. So, it's up to us to get the emeralds before Eggman does, huh?
Never liked Sonic CD. They were always Chaos Emeralds, even in the first game. Or what they called Time Crystals or something like that in Sonic CD. I could be wrong. Going good, man. Yeah, Black was the one on PS2, right? Yeah. But how you doing, Retro? An earlier history. Gotcha. Played stuff online. First time I realized people specialized cute animal characters. Huh. I realized people. Hey, Alex, what's up, man? How you doing? Didn't go fast enough. Cheap Coors Light. Fantastic. But hey, if you wanna hop on Skype, let me know, man. The emulation in this game's pretty good now. Well, they have the Steam releases of this, like 1 and 2, that are pretty well flawless.
Jump on panel number 1. It will take you to panels 2 and 3. Jump as soon as you land on a panel or else you'll fall.
It's like entertaining guests right now. Meanwhile, you're just watching a stream in the corner. You're like, leave me alone! What do I do with you people? I'm watching Sonic the Hedgehog. Turn my game audio up though? Maybe. Well, I find I usually, like, depending on what's going on in the game, I get drowned out pretty easy. It says Super Smash Bros. Weird. That's an odd. Oh, it's almost completely silent, huh? Of course. Let's turn that up a little hair. Yeah. Yeah, I got a whole giant stack of Dreamcast games we can go through. So I was just playing through Sonic right now for a bit, just because I kind of wanted to play this game. How's that, a little better? Turned it up a bit, so we'll see if that helps at all. Forgot if you stop holding a direction when you're on the... That is a lot better now, okay. So Rex, you were, I noticed on a tweet when you were talking to Stika, you were talking about the controllers cramped your hands for the Dreamcast? Oh, I've never had, I don't know, I've always really enjoyed the Dreamcast controller. Never had any real problems with it.
Not bad.
Really? I always kind of preferred the analog stick in this thing. For a prolonged period, it causes RSI. What's the RSI? I'm not familiar with that acronym. Spending 10 years in the Xbox 360. Do that. Now we gotta go do the casino.
The train headed for Station Square will be departing soon.
Oh, repetitive stress injury. Gotcha. Yeah, God, I have always hated the GameCube controller. Because not only did it feel like more like a toy to me, like it always never felt good. 8 hours a day on Xbox 360. Damn. Light speed here. Here. Never mind. Ninja Master, what's up? Where were you on 9/9/99? Hanging out at my buddy's house. Because he had gotten his. Yeah, I felt like you guys were certainly a pretty console when it came out. I remember reading a bunch of game mags back in the day, and they're like, oh my god, these graphics, it's as good as PCs.
Now you've got Lightspeed shoes. Press and hold the action button to
Yeah, I
store
felt like the
power.
push for the Dreamcast had a
Once
really
you have
reasonable
enough
price.
power, release the button and you can do the Lightspeed
$199
dash.
or the
The
$249
Lightspeed
on
dash
retail.
lets you race toward rings at light speed. As long as there's a trail of rings, you can go just about anywhere.
Ready, go!
Ah,
Ready, go!
Use the light dash to run along the paths of rings. Hold the action button and let go when you have enough power.
Ready, go!
Gabber, what's up, man? How you doing? So the piracy thing, one would think if piracy killed the Dreamcast, there would have been more Dreamcast consoles sold over the 9 million. So I feel like piracy was certainly an impact on the bottom line, but I highly doubt it was what killed the Dreamcast. Thought Ninja went from Genesis CD to DC, just blew my mind. Yeah, I think at $199 they certainly weren't making a profit. But yeah, I think his piracy was impacted it, but it didn't really. I feel like it wasn't enough to really shut down the Dreamcast. Because I feel like if piracy was impacting it and it was that successful, there would have been more consoles sold just because of the piracy aspect of it. Because 9 million is just not enough units. Yeah, PlayStation 2 hype was just ridiculous. I would blame that for killing the Dreamcast more than almost anything else. Yeah, I don't know. I was not a huge Sony fan at any point in my life. Still not.
Ready, go!
Ah, damn.
Ready, go!
Ah. Damn. It's an awkward camera shift when you get over there. Let's see here. No console makes a profit for years and watch. Yeah, definitely. Like, especially when they use the razor blade concept in terms of making money on the games. And its DVD compatibility. Well, I find the Dreamcast more interesting than a lot of consoles that are out now. Everyone I knew who had a DC had at least 5 games. Yeah, my good buddy had a ton of games. Skies of Arcadia, Sonic Adventure, Armada, a bunch of other ones. Yeah, when I got my Dreamcast, I got mine a little closer to the death. So I didn't have a huge collection. I really wish I'd bought more.
Ready, go!
Oh my god, really?
Ready, go!
Ugh. This really shouldn't be that hard.
Ready, go!
Yeah, just enough wine is getting a little harder. So the boxing receipt. 6 times a share.
Go!
Let's go for the 7. 7's gonna be it.
Ready, go!
Oh my. It's that camera shift. It's every time.
Ready, go!
If I don't hit the button on my way past. This isn't even that. This is like, what is it? This is the thing to get like the bracelet that makes you stay.
Ready, go!
Wow, if I had just held the stick in that direction, I would have had it. I'll drink some more wine while I'm failing at this. Ah, Babbages. Oh, the Black Sport Edition. Hell yeah, man. Gameplay at shore. I think it's more I just suck, but that's just me. Oh, I bet. Man, I remember freaking, yeah, Matrix Online. I remember that when that game came out. I was like, I thought they'd announced that in like '99. That didn't actually end up coming out for like.
Ready, go!
Hmm. I really want that bracelet. Just,
Ready, go!
oh, there we go.
This is the crystal ring. This reduces the
I
time
really
needed to
struggled
store
back in the
power
day
for the
with the
light
crystal.
speed dash.
It all does is makes the charge a little easier. Anyways, so casino, 400 coins, get the emerald, and then I've drawn a little bit losses where we go through that, but yeah. From the Dreamcast back in the day, it was so cheap and plentiful. Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot, I really wish I'd bought more. Like more stuff, like I remember like, by the time I really started like getting into my Dreamcast, it was like after the console had been like dead for a bit, and so like couldn't find it anywhere in retail. So, yeah. Sweet victory. Kind of surprised Nintendo hasn't. Yeah. I feel like with an MMO, you're kind of... It's a little riskier. Because you gotta pay for servers. Things and the such there. Shower room. So you go to the Knights one. Oh, dude, that's the best. Yeah. Oh, crap. So you get 400 coins. Hey, Ginobili, what's up, man? How you doing? Sorry, I would be talking more. No. But pinball. Hey, Roy Mike, what's up, man? How you doing? Let me get you on the chat. It seems like there's more folks here. Why isn't Alex on chat? Alex apparently is supposed to be an entertaining guest, but he's instead watching a DC stream. Hold on. Genovi, if you want to jump on Skype, man, we can chit-chat. Hey, Gorilla Jones, what's up, man? You actually get a notification for once that I was playing? I don't think a lot of folks did. It's in 11? It's usually a little higher than that, I feel like. But eh. It makes me even sadder. I wonder how many people actually have the bell turned on my channel. They're like, nope. Hey, John, what's up, man? How you doing? Oh, jeez. I came back fast. Handle X-Men worse than stuff. I mean, like, good... I mean, could they really handle it worse than Fox in terms of what they let Bryan Singer do to that thing, and the fact that they literally rebooted it twice within Or no, like the timelines got so convoluted and confused, you necessarily would have to draw a freaking template as to figure out where they are. Ugh, darn it. Let's see, I should have had my Dreamcast back soon from the monitor. Oh, hell yeah, man. How much did that cost you to get the DC mod? Oh yeah, just go ahead and just get that VGA cable and you get 1080p right out of the box on that thing. Apparently how it works, right? About 200? Okay. Are you getting like the SD mod or whatever for it, so you don't have to have the optical drive anymore? Yeah, I've looked at the, just on Wish.com you can find some, like 80, 70 bucks, you can get the SD mods pretty cheap. It's kind of like some Chinese knockoff boards. Oh, it's still looking at the CDI fix, huh? I have an Akira box, good enough for me. No burn cycle for you. Or Thunder in Paradise. Ah, that's cheap as hell. Just stick with CRT and keep it. Fair enough, man. I'm using the pound cable right now, and I think it looks pretty good. So I know a lot of people hate the pound cable, but for $30, I don't have to hook up my, even though like my VGA to HDMI converter box looks better, it's an entire less adapter I have to deal with, so I'm kind of okay with that. I'm part of the problem. Oh, taking me to the shower, alright. Ah, I keep messing that. Hold on. Oh, ah! The paddles in this version are a little slow. Familiar with the Hair Bros bike? I am! Thanks to Adam Korlick, which apparently Retro Bob RGB doesn't care for. But I'm familiar with him through that, but I don't know, for a VGA box, I really don't want to spend like $80. Ugh. It's the worst pinball table. Yeah, I find this one's kind of slow in terms of getting points. You know, it's like, eh. What the Xbox took out. No worries, man. I figured you were. I did a couple more freaking coins. Rings. Ugh. Dang blast, Sonic. Oh! Holy crap, that was fast. It's so cool. I was never a fan of Knights. I'm also a monster, according to some people, based on my love of 16:9 video. Yeah. I haven't pre-ordered one yet, because I think my wife wants to buy one for me. So I'm kind of just waiting on that.
Yes. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I thought about playing my my At Games Genesis Mini. That one, just for fun tonight, but eh. Have fun, John. You can always put me in a plastic bag and take me in there with you, and I can entertain you while you shower. Not sure where I'm going with this line of jokes, but it's just not, it's not coming together.
Yeah.
I hope they got awkward forever.
Hey. Oh no, the Chaos Emerald.
Oh, no, you
Sweet,
don't.
another emerald from Jack from you immediately.
Hey, man.
Bringing what to Portland Retro Game Expo? The awkward jokes there, or what? Jurassic Park and Mars Attacks. Those are pretty good ones. I always thought the Terminator 2 pinball
man.
table
What
was
happened to
badass.
that emerald we just had?
I guess Eggman's got one of them, but the other one's safe. And that guy must be desperate.
That means his 2 to our 1, and that's not good. Come on, Sonic, we need to get busy.
What's more fun to me, and I had that game. I hate the game. It's, God, freaking Sonic Shuffle is it's a painful game. One sec here. Oh, the At Games Genesis? God, you know, now I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it now. This is you don't want me to. The boss of me. Hey Mike, what are you doing tonight? See, now I'm Had a 20-year head trauma
The
for where to
train
go
headed
next.
for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
Theater of Magic. So go to the... Oh, about to go to bed? Alright, man. Please, let me bore you to sleep. I would have no one else do it. Are you doing keto or Atkins or something like that, man? I find just being in my new position, I've been covering down on my old job, so I've been like doing like twice as much work. So I've been like, I thought about trying to get something done yesterday, and I just passed out at like 10 p.m. There's a Lethal Weapon 2 pinball? That's fantastic. Okay, I think, go back to Mystic Men, the Valley. Diplomatic immunity!
The train headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
It's been revoked. Oh, good times. Ah, okay. Quit my armor job, just like, I wish. Yeah, if only I was that, like, creative all the time. I don't know, I have ideas. Like, I'm working on a current video idea, but man, it's been hard going, because ultimately, like, working on something that happened, again, 30 plus years ago, it's hard trying to find data and stuff like that, or even first-hand account of it. Oh, wait, crap. Is the ice key level... Wait, that's outside the casino. I have to bring it here. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, okay.
The train headed for Station Square will be departing soon.
In that alleyway, right? Thank you, Thought Ninja. Save. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Like, I think the keys, I think, are tied into the mechanic of the, what do they call them? The little creatures in this game, oh my god, I'm drawing a complete blank. Chows? Yeah, the mechanic of the chows, like carrying the eggs around and all that.
The train headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
Chaos. Bad at the adventure board. This game's 5 hours if we make you confused at times.
The train headed for Station Square will be departing soon.
Ugh. Channel Retro Machines. That sounds pretty cool. To check that out. Wait, really? There's a Starship Troopers pinball machine? That sounds badass. I'd love to see that. I will say, I still feel like Sonic Adventures is still one of the better 3D Sonic games. Infinitely better than the film. I feel like that's not too hard to do. It's funny, I was playing through Sonic Forces and I was like, it just made me laugh that even though like Sonic Forces are on like completely all new hardware, they still only require you to use one analog stick, and I'm like, I feel like Sega's still trying to say like, see, you didn't really need the two. Dreamcast was fine. But that's my only drive with the Dreamcast, is the lack of, what am I doing here? I've never done the stage. Well, no, I've done the stage, it's just been like 20 years. Oh, come on. This is going to be frustrating. There we go. Oh. Didn't go this way. Let's go for the extra life because I'm a crazy person. That was a mistake. Alright, Genovia, I've been playing a shit ton of 32X Virtual Racing. Should play some more SVP Virtual Racing, Jones. That's clearly the definitive version that Genovia's too afraid to talk about. I mean, if they'd done like, oh, I probably should have just done yeah, man, like looking back when I was like researching an SVP video, it was fun when I discovered that I'm like, oh my god, they were actually planning on making freaking modular cartridge. That was nuts.
careful not to fall off.
Oh crap. Oh shit. Okay, that was fun. Family CR Gaming. House of the Dead 2, Zombies Revenge, but was an amazing system, still 20 years later. Oh, thanks, man. Oh, man. I feel like the Dreamcast is just one of my favorites. Dead All Too Soon. Unique history. Kind of made up for a lot of the mistakes they had with the Saturn. Oh, God, that is a poor choice of level design.
Be careful not to fall off.
There we go. That took way longer than I needed to. Exercise patience. Are you talking the 32X tech demo or the... Wasn't there that 32X like...
Use the panel to jump. It may even help guide your way.
I think that Sonic game great. I'm setting it for operations. Safest. Nice. I find GameSack initially, like when they started, wasn't a huge fan, but like once I started getting like to know their content and the way they actually operated it, I started to enjoy them quite a bit. Okay, just gotta go. The cinematic approach, huh? There we go. Oh god. Best guy from the skiing division. Yeah, the skiing level, or no, snowboard level, not holding up so great. Carpet bomb, fantastic. Oh dear. Thankfully, it's not completely unforgiving, though. You hit murdering you.
Yes.
Packing your boys in the sack. No worries, man.
Yeah, not
Shrek is
bad.
over here. The Dinner Station 2 Rage. Yeah, no worries, Janelle. Okay, so unlock that. Alright, I'll be right back, gents. Hang on one sec.
Better get going. Better get going. Better get going.
Alright, back. Sorry about that.
So, this is Angel
Quick,
Island.
let's drink the wine while he's gone. Still the time to do it, Camper. Playing Sonic and Knuckles. I cannot like any other Sonic games beyond 1 2. And Mania. I'm pretty definitive. Sonic Adventure I still really enjoy. Still need to pick up 2 for, ooh. There used to be a kid in that place, right? The Angel Island? So apparently Borderlands 3 has particular DRMs. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that. The funny thing was I was sitting in the middle of Death Valley, and one of the Army PXs out there had a PC Gamer, and I'm like, oh, I haven't bought one of these in a while, I don't have the internet, so
Station Square will be
I
departing
was
soon.
reading that. I'm just like, oh, Borderlands 3. Really not into Borderlands, so okay. Now, okay, so I have a chaos symbol now. Where do I go? Yeah, I think I have Borderlands 1 and 2 for PC, but I literally haven't touched them in a long time. So yeah. I think now might be a good time to switch Dreamcast games. Oh. Shot, please. God, it's been a long time since I've explored this game. Got all this crap. Okay. Let me go ahead and grab another Dreamcast game we can all enjoy together.
Yo, have you guys been good?
Alright, how do you gents feel about Crazy Taxi for a bit? Did pick up Zombie Revenge. Don't have that title yet. But Dreamcast, I wish I had collected for it sooner, because it used to be pretty cheap, and now it's kind of getting up there. Along with Saturn collecting of any type is just getting crazy expensive. Yeah. Got a little bit of Dreamcast logo.
Hey, come on over, have some fun with Crazy Taxi.
I do have Soul Calibur, but I left it in my office upstairs. Yeah, Sega CD stuff? Holy crap. Well, actually, I don't know. Select Sega CD stuff. Really depends on what you're looking for, though. Like, any of the RPGs on Sega CD. Holy crap, have those gotten expensive. But just about, like, a lot of the action shooters and stuff like that for Sega CD are still pretty reasonably priced. This man is my spirit animal. We go with him.
Let's have some fun. Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go. Right here.
Good. Take me to the cable car. Up on the hill.
Better hang on.
Yeah, like, there's still KFC and all that in this one. But also, like, Sonic 2, you have freaking, like, soap shoes. Like, the main product placements. This game still looks freaking great. I plays the arcade at the force feedback freaking race driving wheel. I miss the days in arcades where definitive. YouTube will get mad after the fact with music. I find they usually sorry, I'm slurring my speech because of the line. They rarely block a stream during it because of the music. It's just not long enough duration. But after the fact, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of angry emails about copyright claims. But I mean, honestly, like these streams, I don't monetize them anyway for the most part. I like just back them up to my archive channel. So it'll end up there. KFC.
Let's go!
All right, all right. Just doing my job. Let's roll.
Hey, this is great. Take me to the church.
You know, the folks who said Dreamcast wouldn't be able to run Grand Theft Auto 3, I find that kind of... That's true. Because this game's pretty freaking huge graphically anyway. It looks better than GTA 3. I don't know, I'm being crazy, sorry. It's,
Over
I'm
here.
not out there.
Move it over here. Okay, here we go. Go that way. All right. No one compares with me. That was hella fast. Hey, over here.
Hey, can't you stop closer? Take me to the baseball stadium.
Okay, better hang on.
Forget that the B button's shift forward.
Hurry, pay attention. Oh, that was dangerous. Careful. Go straight.
All right.
Oh, that was dangerous. Careful. Hey.
Damn. Oh well.
Hey, stop.
Great.
Fine.
Ah. You know, if I could make $2,200 in like 5 minutes a day, that'd be fantastic. That'd be a cabbie.
Yeah, you better try it again. Game.
Who needs fried chicken? Well, now every fast food chain is Taco Bell. It's crazy box.
All right, let's go make some crazy money.
Like McDonald's.
Go ahead and pick a car and drive.
There wasn't one coming to America. It was welcome to McDonald's.
Let's have some.
It's like we. It was like the Scottish
Hey,
theme.
it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go. Hop in.
You're cool. Take me to the original Levi's
Okay,
shop.
thank you later.
Yeah, go that way.
All right.
Watch it, you fool. Let's go.
All right.
Thanks.
Close enough. Hop in.
Hey, this is Brett. Take me to the station.
Okay, thank me later.
Are they working on Coming to America 2 or something like that?
You pay more attention.
Spike? No. Arsenio Hall. Is he still a fan? Spike Lee Wild.
All right.
You pay more. Go straight.
That way, huh?
You're one hell of a driver.
Needs a fare?
Hop in.
Stop driving.
And more Jesus 20 years? What? You a cargo shorts kind of guy?
Alright.
Oh crap.
Go that way, Dave.
Just shut up and relax.
Look around.
That way, huh? Bye.
Act like pros, huh?
Hop in.
Hey, this is great. It's got me out of it.
Okay, thank me later.
These things are made out of canvas?
You're full of energy.
Go that way.
You're full of energy.
Find factory outlets are a fantastic place to find jeans, especially in the clearance rack. It's kind of my thought.
Get in.
You take me to Tower Records?
Okay, thank you.
He's Carvat.
Oh, that was too dangerous.
Knockerville U-Haul, nice.
Hey, watch it. You drive me to the police station.
Okay, here we go. Ha ha ha.
Did you keep your eye on the road? Let's move it.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Move it. You're full of energy.
Hey. Come on, we're running out of time.
That was slow? Oh, come on.
All right, it's time to check out how you did today. Now let's take a look. Class C license. You don't belong down here. You better try it again. Game over.
Just for walking as a genius in it. I'll have to check it out, man. Alright, well that was Crazy Taxi. Let me pick something else out really quick here. Let's do some jet grind radio. How about that? Scotland, PA. This one still has one of those enter to win Dreamcast product registration ones in them. April 1st, 2000 and March 31st, 2001. Eligible to win. Presented by Sega.
Jet Rhino Radio.
So I will say about jeans, what's really annoying to me now is, so the old ACU Army pattern pants, $45 for a pair of those. Crazy thick material. Like, kind of uncomfortable, but those things, like, I have pairs of those I've had for 6 years that I've just destroyed, and they're still doing good. The new OCP pattern, it's like a lighter fabric, and those things are just, like, man, like one of my pairs I bought, freaking already has like a tear down the leg. It's so annoying. Isn't it just... So in everywhere else, yes, it was Jet's set, but in the United States, it's Jet Grind. Cannot stand you. I love games, man.
Let's get scratching.
Somewhere in Asia, there's a city that cannot be found on any map called Tokyo, but everyone just calls it Tokyo. The two hottest things in the streets of Tokyo are the punks wearing magnetically driven inline skates powered by newly developed Netrium batteries and Jet Set Radio, a pirate radio station manned by the DJ Professor K that plays nothing.
Still entertaining
but
guests there, Alex?
hardcore music. Those street punks have been named Rudies by the people of Tokyo. They roam the streets and cover the city with their personal graffiti, claiming that it is their way of expressing themselves to the world. However, ever since the metropolitan government and the financial conglomerate, the Rupkaka Group, combined their efforts to co-found the 21st Century Project, the streets of Tokyo have never been the same again. Police crackdowns on the Rudies have become more severe, and Captain Onishima is more anxious than ever to put them behind bars. The streets of Tokyo are ready to explode.
Hey, you!
So that's corn. Got a keyboard and a macro keyboard. I just got a 32-inch design tablet at work. Kind of interested to play with that. Pretty cool though. I can't remember, did you ever end up deciding on a trackball you liked?
Hey, you!
Scary.
Yeah! Hey, you!
Creative Lab Jukebox. Oh, good times. Wait, crap. The grind pass into it? Oh, okay. Yeah, tag it. Yeah, jump on it and tag it. There we go. I suppose the cops haven't called yet. Ah, ringed out. For 3 trackballs, they slowed my work down too much. Okay. Well, that's good. You found something that works for you now. Grave Lab still exists. I drove past there. I went 88 miles per hour. Oh, fantastic. I just bought myself a Creative Labs MP3 player the other day. It was fantastic. I had a Creative Nomad. Now, I thought I was the coolest kid ever. Okay, so she grinded. You ever, had a Twitter argument with Stika? About how he wasn't impressed with the Dreamcast. I'm like, you shut your mouth. Yeah, I felt like Dreamcast had wonderfully stylized and vivid graphics for the time. And the stuff that wanted to be graphically impressive really was. I mean, Shenmue was freaking gorgeous for the time. Omicron was even gorgeous, despite the fact that people want to hate on it. Looking David Cage title, but eh. Kevin C, how's it going? Still cooking it over the fact that you and Yahel host some of the geekiest and great content, and you both physique of military operatives. Oh man. Yeah, Yahel just, I think his comes from just working out and being a wrestler. Oh wait. Down. Down. Yeah. Can you imagine the dumb face I make when I'm focusing? But yeah. Yeah, so so I took my military PT test a month ago. Passed it, no problem. But so apparently the Army is rolling out a brand new like physical fitness test, which falls more in line with, I would say, CrossFit than anything else. So I'm kind of really curious how that one's gonna go. But the funny, so I was at the gym on Wednesday, kind of doing some of the workouts. And the only one that kind of kills me is this new like flexed arm hang thing we have to do, where it's like you hang with your hand like this on a bar, and you have to like bring your knees up to touch your elbows. And I did that. I did like 6 in a row, just to see where I was at. And like the next morning, I woke up and I felt like I had a knife in my back because I pulled the muscle back there. And I'm like, oh god, I've never used that muscle group before. Hope you guys are having a great night so far. I was not paying attention to where I needed to go. So, okay, let's go ahead and switch titles really quick here to something else. So I think Jet Grind is kind of a definitive Dreamcast title. I got Power Stone we can do. It's another one. Wrestling with the game of HistoricNerd Jimmy. Difference from major YouTuber guys about is I don't feel like jumping into a machine. Oh, glad I can entertain that look, man. Oh, you know what? In terms of definitive Dreamcast stuff, because you know what, it is so close to the Dreamcast birthday, let's just do some Shenmue stuff for a little bit. Just for funsies, how about that? And usually if we do Shenmue, that tends to attract a wild Jimmy, so let's see how that goes. But yeah, I guess Genovi's too busy to editing his next video to want to join the video chat. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'll be in Portland this year. Yeah, I'll be there. I got a hotel like 4 miles from the expo center, and I think he got his like a 4-minute walk from there, so we'll see. So I have a buddy I usually hang out with. I'll be hanging out with him a bit, but I'm bringing my wife and daughter this year, and it's just my daughter's been having like sleep regression stuff, so I'm really hoping to keep her on track. My buddy just doesn't have enough space in his house for us, really, so we're just going to crash in a hotel instead. And also, I had like 1,000,000+ points from this time I was deployed in Missouri. Well, not deployed, but a training thing in Missouri where I was there for 6 months. And so I had 1,000,000 points, so I got a free stay for the weekend. I'm just kind of rambling, sorry. Played the toy capsule machine. Gotta love Shenmue.
He shall appear from a far eastern land across the sea. A young man who has yet
I feel like
to know
Shenmue is
his
still one of the best
potential.
looking games from this generation.
This potential is a power that could either destroy him.
Can you get a Purple
or
Heart?
realize his
No.
will.
Purple Heart has to be
His
like
courage
something
shall
enemy
determine
related
his
or
fate.
combat.
The path
Yeah,
he must
I've heard of a
traverse
guy
fraught
getting
with
a Purple Heart
adversity.
from
I await whilst
the 50
praying,
caliber Modus back in the day,
for
like
his destiny
within the last 5 years,
ancient
used to
times.
require you to set the timing on it
A
because it
pitch
feeds from the
black light
bottom and then loads
unfolds when
rounds.
The morning star is its
And,
own light.
If you didn't have the timing right, you could potentially have a misfire and blow up. And that guy, he had jumped on a gun during a fight, and when he was engaging, his gun actually blew up on him and shot himself. I've heard of that because he was in the middle of a firefight, but no, I've heard of that. When I play Shenmue, I feel at peace. When I play GTA 5, an absolute 7 maniac. Have you played GTA 5 online, where if you like rob a convenience store and if you yell into the mic, it goes faster, so you just like yell shit at the clerk? I'm not sure if you've ever done that. Oh, my bad. I was too busy reading the chat to realize the intro cinematic had ended. I was told. I highly doubt that. They would have had to have forged something on his paperwork to justify it. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't tell you that one, said Mills. Yeah, I think if Jeremy Dixon was in here, he could probably give you more insight into the United States Navy. I only know Army. Play music into my mind. Yeah, when I was actually like aggressively playing GTA 5 online on Xbox 360, I was just yelling all kinds of absolute stuff into my freaking mic when I was robbing convenience stores. And my favorite thing ever was when I was doing that, people in the server would start freaking out because I was just screaming at, like, yelling, "Put the money in the bag!"
I'm all right, but Hazuki-sensei...
My father?
I need to boot that game up, but actually, crap, I haven't had... Is GTA 5 Xbox Live Services still online for 360, or has that been shut down yet? I haven't touched my... I haven't touched my 360 in I don't know how long. Still has been encountering Australian sailors. I find the Navy has that effect on people. It's alive and well. I've heard some really funny stories about submariners. I know that. I don't know too much about the Navy stuff. My best friend's dad was a naval guy.
Stay back, mule. For the last time, where is the mirror? I've no intention of telling you.
They also have like one bed for 4 guys in the submarine corps, so yeah. We have to drive anybody nuts. It's for sissy boys and blue hair freaks.
Father! Why?
Now then. No matter how hard
Nah, it's
you
Gabriel
ask,
Jones. I know your
I'll
Gen
never
X hate's
tell.
coming out. God, it looks so good.
No, don't! Hand over the mirror. Or else, your son. Wait! The mirror, it's buried under the cherry tree.
So I can get Stika in here.
Do you remember Chao Sun Ming?
Chao?
That's the name of the man you killed in Moon Swan.
Yeah, Shenmue, you gotta... You got to really commit to the mindset to get through that game.
I'll
It
allow you
is
to die
a
like
gigantic
warrior.
time investment. Oh yeah, Stika was saying he had that. I think he's ignoring me. We'll see. I know he's online. He was talking to somebody.
Bendy-sama, we have it.
I thought you said Shenmue 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, the Shenmue 3 weeks ago. Wait, are we talking about something else?
Father.
Forgive me
Oh, World of War.
for leaving.
Yeah,
you
sorry.
alone.
Oh, sweet. Steve's getting
What
out.
are you saying? Father!
Your friends. Keep friends. Those you love close to you.
No. Father! No!
Every experiment. Every experience. So I have that, but only for things that interest me. And really random tidbits and facts. And chemical weapon knowledge. That helps me really well in the Army. I'm kind of excited, because next year I get to go to a training ground in Germany, and I get to check out some stuff, because it's like the birthplace of German chemical weapons, where they had literally this facility during World War II and the time before that. They had 350 cubic meter underground storage tanks just filled to the brim with nerve agent, all kinds of stuff. We get to go there, and we're actually going to go train on that ground for like a month. Pretty freaking stoked about it. Alright, let me try and grab a Stika here. The night with the black car. Here we go. Headphones here. See if we can get Stika in here.
Hey Ian, can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
I'm pretty good. What about you? Are you streaming right now?
I am.
Oh, let me go to your channel then.
Yeah, what time's in Portugal right now?
7 a.m.
Ah, do you work today?
Nope, I don't. I just woke up really early for whatever reason.
Gross.
Yeah. Oh, Dreamcast. The worst Sega system.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Let Let me just inform my Discord server that I'm streaming with you. So what are you playing? What is this game? Oh, this is Shenmue.
Of course. Well, yeah, we jumped into this. I was playing Sonic Adventure for a bit. Now we're in Shenmue because, you know, kind of definitive Sega territory. But we'll probably switch to something else here in a second. But yeah.
You know, I'm not that big a fan of the original Sonic Adventure, or really either Sonic Adventure game.
Really?
I
feel like
here's the thing.
Okay, go.
Here's the thing. I think the Sonic levels are great. I think everyone else's levels are terrible.
Otherwise, I'll get depressed.
I understand. But
Yeah,
you
fair enough
work
there.
too hard.
I will say though, I still feel like
By the way,
Sonic Adventure, at least in the Dreamcast 1 and 2, were still like the definitive 3D Sonic games, and they just get worse from there. Like they never quite reached that, with the exception of Generations, which I feel like was like probably one of the pinnacles of their 3D achievements. But I feel like the Sonic 3D games fall into this weird formula of where they're just perpetually stuck on rails, and there's absolutely no.
Yeah.
No
thought there-
idea. One thing on my
there's,
chat
like-
is you clearly don't know what you're talking about.
I've heard there's one Sonic game for the Wii U, which is actually pretty good, but I think it's on Sonic Colors, maybe? I don't know which one it is.
Oh, there's Sonic Worlds? I don't know, there was one where they took a lot of really interesting ideas and they kind of expanded on it.
Yeah. I know there's one that's supposed to be good, but let me check really quickly. Sonic Wii U. Which one is it?
Sonic Bang? Sonic
Lost
Boom?
World. Sonic Lost World.
Lost World, that's the one, okay.
Yeah. I've heard that one's pretty good, actually, but I've never played it. I only have like 2 Wii U games, or 3 Wii U games.
I never bothered to get a Wii U because I was like, this is dumb. I was like, I don't care for this.
Here's the thing, I don't care for the system, but it has like 4 games I want to play, so I got it. So, like, and one of them was Project Zero, which I'm pretty sure it's never going to be launched anywhere else.
But yeah, I feel like, every Sonic Force and stuff like that seemed to me like where they would integrate the 2D elements of Sonic and it wasn't too bad, but then the 3D elements were always poorly implemented into where like Sega would always like, nah, like even like Sonic Forces, the fact that it's like a game that was made a year and a half, 2 years ago, like you only use one analog stick, the other one's completely pointless. They're like, see, the Dreamcast was still valid.
Jesus. And Gorilla Jones, you're stinky, damn it.
Yeah. I don't know, you gotta forgive him, he's a Saturn fanboy and he's completely lost in his ways.
Can I? Yeah, yes, Alexander. I am right here. Can I just say that Shenmue still looks pretty good today?
Oh yeah, I still feel like Shenmue is one of like the prettiest games of this generation. To be honest with you.
The man called Mandy. What did he talk with my father about?
But have you played the remaster yet? Did it change anything for the remaster?
You know, I haven't checked it out yet, actually.
The black
I still remember Shenmue pretty vividly from when I played it for hours the first time. Weeks the first time.
I see.
And then Shenmue 2.
Fuku-san.
I still remember that one playing out on the Xbox because it never got released here on the Dreamcast for whatever freaking reason.
I think Alexander Maya just gave a major burn to the Dreamcast. Shenmue looks like a full-on PS2 game. Meaning the rest...
Shut your mouth.
Where are you going? You're not going after them.
There's so many shit-looking PS2 games.
I'm just saying, the Dreamcast is the weakest of all Sega consoles.
They killed my father. Right in front of
Prove me wrong.
I will have my revenge.
No, because it sold better than the Saturn overall.
I'm not talking about sales. I mean games.
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. Like the Dreamcast, I come back to the Dreamcast and enjoy myself. And the Saturn, I come back and I'm like, why? Why did they make these choices?
Okay, but like on the Saturn, you have great 2D games.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Like I don't know. For me, when the Saturn came out, I had already had a pretty good exposure to 3D games, and I was already tired of 2D games. So I'm like, you know, cool. They got these great little like 2D graphics, but it really wasn't like a definitive.
No, I get that, but like
the gaming experience, you know.
No, I get that the Saturn was not the ideal hardware for the time, but like playing it now, it aged really well. The 2D games aged really well. They aged way better than the PS1's 3D games, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, because PS1 games still look pretty freaking gross.
Look, here's the thing. I love the PS1 is actually my favorite console of all time, and even more than the
Ow.
gen. No, really, I love
Ow.
it. But the thing is, I love the jankiness of the PS1 games. Like, I can play the original Tomb Raider or Resident Evil, and I just love how freaking terrible the controls are for whatever reason. Like, they're terrible, and I love them. But wait, is Shenmue 3 even out yet?
No, yeah, no.
Ah, okay.
Still
Can you
waiting.
pet the
Still
cat?
waiting for that. Like, because you know, as soon as Shenmue 3 comes out, the internet's gonna be flooded with crap on that one. But I don't know. For me, like, so like my experience with the Saturn was like, you know, you had Tomb Raider that came out. It was on the Saturn exclusively for a while, and some other titles, but it just wasn't. Because the Dreamcast was the Saturn was so poorly launched in North America.
Oh,
it took it a while to get to where I live. So like the PlayStation 1 had pretty much invaded everywhere, and then.
Now, see, for me, it was kind of the other way around. Like the Saturn was everywhere for the first couple of years, and they had Dragon Ball Z, so everybody had to have a Saturn.
Yeah, it was I only knew like one person growing up that had a Saturn. It did not do well.
Like here, everyone had a Saturn until like '98 when the PS1 finally took off.
It took it that long?
Yeah, like seriously.
My God.
Because the Saturn was just really popular here. Like everyone had a Saturn, or at least wanted one.
God, the funny thing for me was like, because like I just skipped the Saturn growing up because I was like, there was just nothing on I wanted. There was no Sonic games on it. You had Sonic 3D, which was just made me want to hit myself in the face with a hammer. And then
I only knew one person who owned a Nintendo 64.
That's nuts, because pretty much everybody growing up for me had an N64. Like, I had I jumped from the Genesis to the N64 because I was like, PlayStation 1, lame. I don't want to go with PlayStation. Freaking Saturn, I knew one person with it, and it was like $400. I'm like,
Like, I remember playing stuff like Marvel vs. Capcom, and like all of those Capcom fighting games on the set. It was so awesome.
I guess for me, it was like I think like Rex was making fun of me for saying I was tired of 2D games at that point, because I kind of moved to 3D stuff, and so like when I saw those fighting games, I'm like, why would I want that at home? I can go to an arcade and play that. This kind of stuff like that.
The point of it was that you don't have to go to the arcade anymore. You can just have them at home.
I know. It just, to me, it wasn't like the arcade experience wasn't like a driving factor anymore. So yeah.
But then again, I really wanted the PS1 because of Tekken 3 and Time Crisis, so I didn't have to put them on arcades too. So,
God, yeah, like Time Crisis was pretty great. I don't know how it wasn't there, but like one here had like force feedback on the controller, so you had like the recoil of the pistol. It was fantastic.
Wait. The recoil, the pistol had recoil on the arcade or on the PS1?
On the arcade.
Oh, same here. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure Time Crisis is the most popular light gun game here.
I'm gonna feed the cat tofu because I'm a monster. I'm a vegan.
I'm pretty sure that's animal cruelty.
Yeah.
Well,
let's see, a vegan groomer. Someone told me at the time
there's
school.
also dried fish. Give that a try. If you crush it, she might.
Unlivable blood mode, which was a lie. I wish it did.
Well, I've got to go now.
So, as far as I know, the biggest gaming rumor that turned out to be false that I used to hear at school was the Lara Croft nude cheat code.
Tomb Raider nude code. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid and doing all kinds of really dumb things in that game to try and unlock that thing.
And there was always that one guy who said, "Yo, I played the game with the nude code. It's amazing.
It's
whatever."
freaking awesome.
I knew one guy said who that you can see everything. You can see everything. Whatever. And I'm like, and like 10 years later, when I read on the internet that it was false, I suddenly remember that guy, and I was like, "You big fucking liar! I wish I knew where you lived now."
I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna ruin your life for being a fucking liar. Oh, that's fantastic. Now, I remember like going on the online forums back then, or the websites that have those things put, like they were public posting points and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And just like doing the random stuff I said in the game where you had to go to certain places to do it, and like random button combinations and like doing all that crap. I'm like, God, I needed a life back then.
And you know what was the worst part? When like you went online and checked like a cheat code and you couldn't pull it off, so you went to a different website and it had exactly the same listings with the same writing style because it was submitted by the same person. And then every other gaming website had exactly the same listings written the same style because they were all submitted by the same person. Like GameSpot, IGN, GameFAQs, whatever. All their cheat codes are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like no differences.
Hey, I'm gonna grab a different
There's
game. 1 sec. Let's see. We got Sega GT, Star Wars Pod Racer, Power Stone, Echo the Dolphin, Star Lancer, some other stuff in the box over there.
Is Pod Racer any decent?
That was pretty great. I'll grab that one and show it to you. Hang on 1 sec.
Oh wait, Pod Racer. I was thinking of Super Bombette Racing for whatever reason. And I think Super Bombette Racing is on the PS2.
See, my headphones were off, so I couldn't hear you. Sorry, 1 sec.
Oh, okay.
What were you saying?
I was saying, you said Pod Racer, but I was thinking of Super Bombette Racing for whatever reason.
Oh god, that one. That's a PS1 or
game,
PS2 exclusive, I think.
PS2, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, episode 1 and all that.
So, quick question, Ian. Was King of Fighters popular in the United States?
Where I live, no. To be honest with you, the only time I really ever encountered King of Fighters was when the anime came out, and it was all over the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, that
was the first time I had encountered King of Fighters.
That is so weird to me. Like, King of Fighters is freaking huge here. Like, it might even surpass Street Fighter in terms of popularity.
For me, it was like, I know King of Fighters was a thing, but it just wasn't as big, at least where I lived in California. Like, it never really got big. It was like, there were 2 fighters when I was growing up. It was Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and that was pretty much the pinnacle of where we got.
Like,
how's it going, man?
Neo Geo here was like the big one. Like, everyone wanted to play Neo Geo arcade games, and King of Fighters and Metal Slug were like the 2 most popular games here.
Yeah, Metal Slug was a big deal. King of Fighters, not so much. It was just kind of like another fighter, you know? I don't know, because King of Fighters, it only had... Did it have a Genesis port at one point, or no?
King of Fighters? No, it didn't.
Yeah.
The most chances got was Fatal Fury 2. Which is a pretty good game, and a pretty good port.
Yeah, they really weren't I don't know, this is my personal anecdotal evidence, but like, it just wasn't big. Like, the only time people really like started getting into King of Fighters when the anime dropped, and we watched that on like cable.
like there were entire schoolyard fights over which King of Fighters was better, like 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, and so on.
Wait, Gorilla Jones, you made of money, man? You actually bought an AES?
Damn.
Holy shit.
Like King of Fighters was just freaking huge. So I was really surprised to hear when like most people in the US hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah, I think for the most part, just Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat just completely wash it. That's a 25-year-old dude. Yeah, expendable income.
Yeah.
Man, that's kind of interesting to think about, like how that's just huge in Europe. Because I know Happy Console Gamer, he's way into like King of Fighters. And I'm like, maybe it's just like a PAL thing / Commonwealth / European. Because it just wasn't big in my part of the United States.
Here's the thing. I don't know if it was popular in Europe, though. I mean, I know it was popular in Portugal and Spain, but I have no idea about the rest of Europe. Like I've heard that it was really popular in South America, so maybe it was as popular in Latin-speaking countries. I don't know. Like, I really have no idea.
Oh yeah, Primal Rage was huge for a minute.
Oh, Primal Rage was really popular here too, but I don't know. I never liked the game.
Primal Rage, I remember playing it, and like I always felt like it was different because like you had to hold the buttons down to do the combo with the reaction.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel. Yeah, I don't know. It was always interesting.
was kind of weird. Like it was one of those games where I wanted to like it, but I couldn't like it, no matter how much I tried. But then again, I only really played the 16-bit ports, and they were not very good.
I remember renting a 32X and playing Primal Rage,
which was barely any different from the Genesis version.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks pretty amazing, but yeah.
It looked slightly better than the Genesis version, but not a huge upgrade.
But I don't know. For me, like the whole 32X Sega CD thing, like I didn't honestly like. I knew the 32X existed when I was growing up. Didn't know the Sega CD existed because I just never encountered it. But like 32X was just cool because I'm like, man, there's so many more colors.
You know, like I think the first time I heard of the Sega CD was through the Angry Video Game Nerds. So
yeah, that was kind of like my 2008 when I was like on this really weird camping trip where like we all went up a mountain, we got snowed out, and we just ended up drinking and hanging out at a buddy's apartment for like a week straight. We just watched Angry Video Game Nerd videos.
Yeah, exactly.
And we watched the Sega CD thing. I'm like, I had no idea this was a thing because I knew about the I knew about the 32X, so I just didn't know the Sega CD, and it just kind of got This conversation's making me sad.
I remember thinking it just felt like such a huge burst of potential because technically a Genesis that runs CD sounds pretty awesome. Like you could have regular Genesis games with a lot more content. And instead what you got was usually FMV games or the same Genesis games with a different soundtrack.
Elma? Be right back.
Elma, yeah.
Gotcha. Tech Baron, I got Gamecast. No, you can have GameCube or Dreamcast. I told you I got Gamecast. Freaking love that movie. Freaking Jamie.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah. Now, I feel like this is one of the best versions, to be honest.
Man, that's a lot of fog. Like I know this was on the N64, but I assumed the Dreamcast port would like get rid of the fog.
Might be like a dust environmental thing, so I don't recall other levels having a similar level of dust or fog. God, that always pissed me off about like these developers. Like, we can do all this volumetric fog with the PS2, and it's like, oh come on, you're doing that because you're fucking lazy and don't want to make more shit. How do I rotate the?
I'm shaking. Gorilla Jones is saying, I'm shaking my fist at clouds at the astounding levels of young people revisionist takes on the golden age of gaming.
What do you mean, like the fact we didn't know about the Sega CD?
I'm pretty curious to see what do you mean, Gorilla Jones.
I love Gorilla Jones. I think it's all the Gen X hate he has.
Good thing I'm a millennial then.
Yeah. I'm one of those dirty millennials myself, so it works out.
I think I was born like at the edge of a millennial, like when millennials actually began.
How old are you? When you were born?
32. I was born in '87.
Okay, I'm older than you, and I'm still a millennial.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah.
So when do millennials begin?
It really depends on what sociology textbook you're looking at.
Okay.
Honestly, like my window for millennials, like I personally break it down to 1.0 and 2.0. You have 1980 to 2000 is what they consider the window for millennials being born.
Okay.
So I personally I put the 1.0 and 2.0 subtext on there because like most of like the 1.0 is like you and me. We were born in the 80s and we experienced the explosion of personal computers and the internet. And so we grew up and watched the explosion of personal cell phones and all that. And then you have 2.0s, which were born in like the mid 90s. Who kind of just grew up in the stuff and didn't have that observation of seeing landline telephones disappear and all that. That's me though.
It's because I saw I remember I went and saw like a list of when millennials began, and my brother wasn't included, and he was born in '81. So I was like, okay, so I guess I'm right at the edge.
Yeah, honestly, like it depends on what sources you're looking at. They vary wildly. Like I've seen stuff that say like 1985 and forward to 2000,
Yeah, that's the one.
or
That's the
or
one I saw,
like
like 85.
or like 85 to 95, and you have like the other subtext. It's I don't know. Personally, my opinion, it's 1980 to 2000. It's a millennial window.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's me. Oh, Electron Ash, what's up, man?
Oh, hi, Electron Ash.
Rex is 87. All right.
Let's be trying to make my Tommy Wiseau voice.
Oh, hi. Oh,
Oh,
no,
hi,
pod
Mark.
racing. It's all right, but come back to the chat here. Yeah, my brother was born in 79. He's one of my brothers.
Oh.
But that's like late stage Gen X.
I like the memes Boomers versus Zoomers. It strangely makes more sense, says 7 Battle of Doom.
Wait, Zoomers? What are Zoomers?
Zoomers are the generation after Millennials.
Oh, I thought they were Gen Zs or whatever.
Zoomers, Gen Zs, whatever.
I can't remember where like the joke was like, oh yeah, clearly they ran out of souls when they got to Gen Z. That's why Fortnite and Justin Bieber are popular.
Can we imagine, like, 20 years from now, you'll see, like, YouTubers saying, man, like Fortnite was such a classic. This was our Super Mario Bros.
Oh, God. You know, it's funny.
This
like,
was our Sonic the
I feel like
Hedgehog.
there was a brief period before I joined the army when I was like substitute teaching and stuff like that, and kids were playing League of Legends, and they're like, "Oh man, this game's awesome!" All this stuff. I'm like, you know, this game's like fucking 8 years old, right? And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, this game's like 8 years old, man. It's like it's an expansion of a mod for Warcraft 3." Oh God, it was.
I was never into MOBAs.
I don't know. I guess I was never into leveling up a character just to do it again the next match. So it always bothered me.
Yeah.
Tied.
Hey, Retro Bros, we're taking it old school with a real classic, Fortnite.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's gonna happen eventually. You know that.
Oh God, it'd be so old. It's gonna be awful.
Yeah. But the thing is, the only reason why it might not happen is because sooner or later the servers are gonna be turned off.
Didn't Boomers also fight in the World War? No, Boomers did not. Baby Boomers were directly after the Second World War. You had the Silent Generation or the Greatest Generation were the ones who fought the war. Boomers were immediately after that. They fought the Vietnam War, predominantly. Yeah. And then, well, I guess Boomers fought the Vietnam War, and then the tail end did the Gulf War. But yeah. At least in the United States. I don't know how Portugal kind of breaks that up, but yeah.
Like we don't really do that. I think like there were some minimal generation terms, but they never really stuck, I guess. Like I'm not sure how to translate this. This was really hard to translate. Like during between 2006, between 2000 and 2016, I guess. We call like that decade. Oh shit! How do I translate this? Like generation. Shit, I don't know how to. Okay, let me find some translate. I have no idea how to translate this word. Give me a second.
Interesting.
I'm gonna use Google.
I'm really curious about this.
Okay, a second.
Alma, baby boomers are considered the first B
second.
generation because they came immediately about after World War II and the expansion of American industry and that whole thing.
Man, I have no idea how to translate this word. Like,
I'm so curious about what this is.
like, generation. Like, is there even a word for this? Come on, let me just.
What's the word in Portuguese?
Agashka, but it's slang. I'll write it, but it's slang. The thing it's slang. It basically the word agashka means you're in trouble, or like you're you're in a crisis, or you're having
and this is the generation 06 to 16.
Yeah, because Portugal underwent a really bad economic crisis, for like over 10 years actually.
Wow.
We could say almost 20 years of economic crisis.
Damn. And you guys are in the EU. You're in the EU, right?
Yeah, like I remember hearing like about the economic crisis blowing up here, like as early as my 8th grade, I guess. Which, oh god, how long ago was that? 8th grade for me.
Wow.
It's been like 2002 maybe, and it lasted until 2016, give or take.
Ouch.
So yeah, so like people call that generation, like, I don't know, I can't find a word to translate this. I'm checking out like.
I feel like it's like a random thing for like you're boned or something like that.
Yes, something like that. Yes, it is kind of like that. The bone generation.
It
is kind of like that.
That sounds about right.
But like that's the only time I've ever heard like a sort of generational name here.
Yeah, Electron Ash. Yeah, I feel like pod racing the Dreamcast is probably the definitive version of this game. Like outside, like there's a PC version which still looks really good, but I feel like this version looks like absolutely the best. Outside of the, I feel like the N64 version controls the best, but that's it. The controls were just better mapped, I think.
The thing is, I don't know. Is it just me, or does it really look like an N64 game?
This, I mean, this game's from like 98, 97?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, no, that's not right. Definitely an older game, but yeah, this game was kind of, I think it was built primarily for the N64 and then kind of ported off from there. So yeah, so it's not a very pretty game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like even for a Dreamcast game, it looks kind of like very low detail, like Rex is saying.
99. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that has to do with the fact it was probably primarily made for the N64.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I used to own a game store. Wait, what? Didn't know that, girl. What are you doing now, primarily? But yeah, I remember, so, the United States, yeah, the last economic recession we had was like 2007 to 2014-ish.
Yeah, I know the housing crisis, right?
Yeah, I remember that because I lost my job, and I decided to stay at the same company. And they're like, "Oh, we'll give you the same duties and responsibilities, but we'll pay you $5 less an hour." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I have to take it because I'm a bitch." So that was my experience during that particular crisis. That was great.
Yeah, but what I find amazing about the United States is that, God damn it, you guys can like just get over a crisis really quickly, because ours took 20 years. Yours took like 5.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like probably less than that actually.
See what I mean? Like literally from my 8th grade until me turning like 25 or something, I kept hearing about the Portuguese crisis. Oh, and your housing crisis actually made things even worse in Portugal.
Well, it's kind of nuts because like in terms of just like pure wealth, the United States is just astronomically more wealthy than
it is
so many other countries.
It is.
Yeah,
like we only finally got out of this crisis like I said about 2016, 2017. Only very recently did things start really improving here.
Well, like, so what's the population of Portugal?
10 million. So not a whole lot. You guys have like 3. Tiny.
Man, we have cities more populous than that.
I know.
So what kind of I find amazing. So I live in the state of Idaho, which we have a population here of 1.3 million people, and the geographic area of Idaho is greater than that of the entire United Kingdom.
Okay.
That just blows my mind thinking about that.
So you live in a desert, basically.
Well, I mean, like, so, like, Idaho is, like, a geographically crazy diverse state in terms of, like, so we have, I live in a high desert bowl, but if you go, like, an hour north, you end up in, like, really luscious forest. You go you go an hour south, you end up in a psychotically just awful desert. And, it's an incredibly diverse state.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Like, and I'd say the fact that you have like a small population for such a large area means at least you don't have like, I don't know, big lines or like housing crisis or whatever.
Yeah, not really. I mean, like, I live in a castle, basically. So, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
to me, that's amazing. Like,
yeah, I sold my old house and just bought a exponentially larger house.
See,
Yeah.
like houses here are really small, so I'd love to have like a really huge house.
Yeah, like my the house I bought is 2,200 square feet.
Okay, 300. Let me convert that to meters.
So like yeah, so 3 feet to a meter.
2 meters, and it's damn. That's pretty good actually.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
Like, I actually have no idea how big this house is. I need to check like the contract or documents. I have no idea.
But like, let's just say like, so my.
But it's small.
So the bay I'm in, so like my whole streaming setup is in my garage, and so I guess like 'cause I have a whole extra bay in my garage, which
oh, that is awesome.
So I have like a whole car. I have a whole car parked off to my right, and it has like. So over here I got, what would this be? Like 600 square meters or something in here?
Damn.
No, that's too big. I'm doing it wrong. 300 square meters. Let's go with that.
Even so, that's still pretty damn big.
It's like 900 square feet or something like that here. It's nuts.
Like, I'm already running out of room for video games here. And I have a house, so...
Yeah. Well, yeah, like the funny thing with my my office upstairs, I have a whole walk-in closet that I've modified with shelves and stuff, and I have all my like retro games in there. And like I'm like cool. I'm never in my office anymore because I'm just got in my garage.
That is just so damn cool. Like, we have so much space in your house. I'd love that.
It's awesome.
So how does that game control, by the way?
Oh, this game's fantastic. I don't know, like Rex was saying he hated the controllers because apparently the analog triggers like will cause repetitive stress injury or something like that. I've never had that issue with the Dreamcast, but I don't know, I've always really loved the Dreamcast controller, and I feel like the only thing it's really missing is if it had an extra analog stick, it would have been just the ultimate ideal controller for that generation. Just because the freaking 360 is eventually copied it anyway.
The issue, the Dreamcast controller has a lot of issues in my opinion.
Well, I mean, a lot of people hate it. Okay, go down your reason why you hate it.
Okay, the analog stick is not very good.
Really? I freaking love it.
I find it like really slippery. The analog stick, it's really slippery. And I thought it was my controller, but then I bought 3 more controllers, and they all had the same slippery analog stick. So I know it's not mine.
I don't know.
I also.
Okay.
I also don't really like how the cord is facing you.
Oh
it
yeah,
seems like
I'll admit, like the cord, I feel like is not long enough. I'll admit that.
Also that, and I also think the D-pad is not as good as the Saturn's.
Well,
the D-pad is good, but it's not as good as the Saturn's.
I feel like around this point in this generation of gaming, the D-pad became relatively obsolete. But that's just me.
Not for fighting games, man. Come on, not for fighting.
Again, in my experience, fighting games were kind of, second fiddle by then. So.
True, but the Dreamcast had some amazing fighting games like Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Like, it needed them. Like Capcom had to make their own fighting controller for the Dreamcast, which was pretty much a copy of the Saturn controller, by the way. Just saying. Also, it had 2 buttons less.
Well, I
than
mean,
the Saturn.
like the let's go like this, like the. I need to go try and buy a Saturn for an analog joystick or analog controller.
No, like the Saturn controller was great for 2D games, but terrible for 3D games, like trash. Have you tried playing a first-person shooter on the Saturn?
Oh, like Quake and.
Yeah, like Quake or Power Slave or Duke Nukem 3D. It's not very easy to control. Like,
yeah.
Like if you want to aim up in Duke Nukem 3D, you have to press a button, then use the arrow keys to look up and down, meaning you can't move, and then you can shoot. Like, it takes so goddamn long to aim. And the swimming controls are even worse.
Yeah, like I feel like the Saturn, like the second generation Saturn controller we got in the States was pretty phenomenal, which was the one that the rest of the world got first.
That one's awful.
For whatever reason, like the one like we decided to do first with Saturn was just, I feel like that thing was designed just to torture humans. But yeah, like so, like in terms of like being a 6-button D-pad controller, I feel like that's a definitive design for Sega. But I don't know, but the Dreamcast controller to me has always felt really good.
Like, I don't know, the DC controller. If they could have fixed the analog stick, I probably would like it a lot more.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess being me, I don't know. I just don't notice the issue that you were talking about with the Saturn analog stick, or just a Dreamcast. Sorry.
Okay, think of it like this: if you hold the PS4 controller and move the analog stick, don't you notice any differences between the?
So I don't know. My issues with the PlayStation controller is the fact I hate the positioning of the analog sticks. Like that to me is a suboptimal positioning. Like I feel like
I agree.
I feel like the 360 or Xbox and 360 is the definitive placement of where those sticks should be. And I feel like the Dreamcast is a progenitor of that design and where they should be.
No, I agree completely. I do think that the placement of the analog sticks for the 360 controller and the Dreamcast controller are way better. But like the actual analog sticks, like okay, compare the analog stick of the Dreamcast with that of the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One. Don't you feel like the Dreamcast analog is very slippery?
So in my mind, comparing the two, it would be the Dreamcast analog stick has more range of movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I have to sit down and actually like compare the two to see. I don't know, because for me, whenever I play Dreamcast, I'm very much in a Dreamcast mindset. So that involves me forgiving the fact that Dreamcast doesn't have the extra analog stick. So like whenever I play like Quake 3 on the Dreamcast, I'm using the Y, X, B, and A buttons as a movement panel, and then aiming with the stick. So it's
like for example, I love the Sega Genesis, but I feel the 3-button controller, the D-pad on that one is kind of questionable.
Oh, on the Genesis 3-button?
Yeah, like have you tried pulling a Hadouken on that D-pad? You're gonna get some like some cramps on your thumb.
Well, also on like this 3-pad Genesis controller in general, you're gonna have a horrible time trying to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like exactly. I don't know. I feel like the Genesis 6-button though is.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Fantastic.
It is. It's great.
Well, I can't remember who I was arguing with, but I was talking to them, and they were talking about. I was like bitching about how I thought the GameCube controller is garbage and a baby toy, and then they were like shit talking on the Genesis 6-button, and I'm like, you know what's funny? You see Genesis 6-button and Saturn 6-button controllers still being made today. You know what you don't see?
What?
Like fucking Super Nintendo and that shit. You don't see those at gaming tournaments anymore.
Well, it's true.
Yeah. So
strangely enough, the only people who want Super Nintendo controllers or GameCube controllers are people who love Nintendo.
Well, yeah, like the only fighting community people you see with GameCube controllers are the guys who play like Melee or the expansion of Smash Bros. Like you don't see it outside of that arena. But outside of that, I feel like that's a fighting game, a horrible fighting game controller.
But like you do see like third-party fighting game controllers, and they're all pretty much modeled after the Saturn controller.
Oh yeah, yeah. I feel like one thing the Saturn controller did right, where they integrated the shoulder buttons and that, like in the expansion of the 6-button Sega or Genesis controller. Just,
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah.
So there are a lot of comments here, and I've been kind of ignoring them.
Oh yeah, so I've been.
Sorry about that, folks. I'll read some of them. Let me see. Elma is saying, do you have a record of Lodos War?
I do have that.
Well, okay. I guess if you want, we could try that.
Well, it's also upstairs in my office, so. Sorry, guys.
Let me see. And then Rex and Electron Ash are having a discussion about what now? Okay, about the analog sticks in general. Let me see. I think the DC has one of the first controllers to use Hall effect sensors, which I have no idea what it is. So the triggers have little magnets in which get closer to the PCB. That just goes way over my head.
Yeah, Electronash is he's been designing quite a fair amount of stuff. But then Rex, also being an engineer, understands some stuff also.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
7 Beetle of Doom is saying, GameCube controllers are still being made just for professional Smash Bros. Players.
Yeah, like that. Oh god. Sorry, you died in the game pretty much. Oh, come on. Freaking trap out a door there. But yeah, I guess because the GameCube controller in general, I hate it because it just feels like a toy.
Let me see. Gorilla Jones is saying something about we giving him attention. I'm going to ignore that.
we live for your attention. Don't ignore us.
Okay, half effect sensor is a magnet sensor. Okay, got it. So when the magnet gets closer to it, it knows the trigger has been squeezed more. Okay, I think I'm getting the idea. It still goes in over my head, but I think I'm getting the idea now. You know, I was just checking out Amazon the other day and like checking out my PS4 and Switch wish list.
Yeah.
Like my list just keeps getting so goddamn huge. I don't know what's up with this generation, but it's like there's like at least 3 good games launching every other week now.
Well, I have the exact opposite problem.
Really?
I've found I'm more interested in stuff that came out 20 years ago plus than the current generation of game stuff. I'm like, meh. I'm like, I'll get it later for cheaper.
My issue is basically twofold. The first is that the games that I really love usually become kind of expensive later on. Like, JRPGs or whatever. They tend to become kind of hard to find. And I really don't have time to play modern games anymore because they take so much longer to play than retro games.
Yeah.
Like,
I found
even,
with
okay, go ahead.
I found with my current position, I've been working like 60 some odd hours a week, so I really haven't. I don't know. I have this like script on my desk of a video project we're working on. I just keep pushing it off because I've been so busy at work. But like I'm sitting there, I'm like, new games. I'm like, meh. Like I was going through Walmart the other day. I was like looking at like, are there like classic consoles I want to look at, like that the TurboGrafx Mini or any of that out yet? I was like looking around to see if they had anything. I'm like, nah, eh. Like just kind of ignoring the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. I'm like, meh.
Well, the issue is when I go to a game store, I rarely see any games that I like. Like I literally have to go to Amazon because at this point, Amazon is so well trained on my gaming tastes that it knows what to recommend me.
It's just their analytics just have you pegged.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I go to Amazon.co.uk and it's recommending me games like, let me see, the Ni no Kuni Remaster, Crystar, Trials of Mana, the Yakuza Remastered Collection, and I'm like, God damn it, I want all 4 of these.
Man, my Amazon cannot predict me at all. It's like, would you like cable extensions? I'm like, not really. Okay.
How often do you buy games on Amazon?
Like I'll buy retro stuff once in a while, but that's about it. But like, I don't think Amazon. I don't think Amazon understands. Like, I think I exclusively use Amazon for buying like hardware components for things or like retro games once in a while when I can find them on there. So it has no idea how to analytically pick me.
That's the issue because I think Amazon can at least video game wise, it only knows what you like if you start buying games from late generation PS2 onwards. Like if you buy PS1 games or Genesis games or whatever, it's not gonna know what you want.
Yeah, it has no idea.
It just pretty much puts all retro games in one big bag.
Especially like since Amazon, I find at least in the States, it's kind of weird in terms of like when you buy a retro game, it's from like usually a private seller who doesn't have it properly properly marked. So like the analytical flags are not there.
That's actually why I rarely buy games, retro games from Amazon, because usually they rarely give you photos. and the descriptions are not very precise usually. So I just use eBay for retro games.
I'm kind of a jerk when it comes to Amazon in terms of like if I buy a game on Amazon and it doesn't fit the description exactly, I'm like immediately returning it. Which which is really, I don't know. I've encountered every time I bought a game like that on Amazon, they're usually like, and I'm like, I go to return it because it has like a defect in the case or something like that wasn't mentioned. They're like, just keep it. And so and they just return the money, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I've gotten like a selection of free games just because I was like really picky about what I got. Because I'm like, if I gave you $30, I want like mint in box. I don't want like whatever this broken hack of crap is.
I'm pretty sure I couldn't do that. Like, I don't know, if every time I've tried to return something on Amazon or eBay, I always have to send it back.
Whenever like it's through a private seller, at least in my experience, it's always been like they don't want it back. So like,
Oh, okay.
So I have like 3 copies of Clockwork Knight because I've been like, this wasn't to the quality you said it was in your description. And like I talk to the seller and I'm like, hey, do you want this back? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just keep it.
That's amazing. You should try finding some PAL games and then do that and then send them back to me.
Yeah, well, I remember like when I was like looking to send you something, I was like, oh, $45. No. And then I guess I'm like, hey, are you? Like, remember Genovi was sending you that package, so I'm like, hey, can I send this to you? And you just throw it in there.
Oh god, that one was such a goddamn headache.
Yeah, that's amazing. That they're like, oh, so you're getting this stuff from America? It's got to be taxed appropriately.
And it took like 3 months to get it cleared. Like, our customs is pretty bad.
Stika and Nerd need to read the chat more.
Let
me go through here.
Sorry.
Let's catch up. See, the last time I looked at the chat was a while ago.
Oh, same here, actually. Sorry. I was just looking at the game.
My beef with millennials is that the generation who is moronic enough to enable developers to sell them little hats and outfits for digital characters. Yeah, that is problematic. The fact that anyone wants to pay for cosmetic stuff in a game, I'm kind of like, eh. I remember when Skyrim, or no, that's not Skyrim, but Oblivion, with the horses.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I'm like, who would pay for that?
Yeah, I remember that, and people actually got mad over it. These days, it's like they just launch a new cosmetic DLC. People are like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna buy that.
Or like crazy to me, like they'll launch an entire game series and be like, don't worry, the fact that this game is already $5 million in the hole, we'll make up for it by selling hats.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's just insane to me.
It's really fucking weird.
But yeah, then Alex, I think Alex has talked to me about this because he still works in the industry pretty actively. And he talks about how apparently like the current gaming model is flawed in the sense that they can't possibly make money by selling games at an actual retail price. They have to do microtransactions just because of how they've geared game development. And I'm like, well, to me that strikes me as something like, well, clearly, if that's the case, then your entire development model is flawed.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to go back to the drawing board and just make games that are like you can reasonably make. Or have a team of slave labor, or quote unquote interns you can utilize to polish up your game.
Like, but the thing is, how have we not crashed as an industry yet?
Oh, gaming?
Yeah. Whenever I hear that we're just basically launching games that are like incomplete, but we're gonna launch patches over the next couple of years to fix the game, or games that are not gonna be profitable until we sell DLCs. All I can think of is, how have we not crashed as an industry yet? Because it sounds like we're pretty much verging on a crash.
I think there's going to be a point in time where like big AAA titles will suffer quite a bit, but because like the game industry as a whole has so many more opportunities for smaller developers to make things. It's just,
I think your stream just went out.
It's still going on mine.
Okay, no, it's back. Sorry, I guess it was just me.
You're right.
Sorry.
I don't know. I feel like there's just so much money out there for just games in general, for entertainment, because like what the video games as a consumable media just surpassed, like I think like what 4 years ago they surpassed Hollywood in terms of how much money they were making.
True.
So there's just billions upon billions of dollars to be made in just digital entertainment. And so like there's just more and more money. I think what's going to happen is I think AAA studios are going to have a lot harder time because they're just going to run into that whole blockbuster conundrum as to where they're going to put so much money into a project there's just no way they can recoup it because there's just so many other options out there for the consumer. But I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm an internet nobody just talking what I'm thinking about. so yeah.
Rex,
but take it as you can.
Rex is saying, don't give kids access to credit cards. Problem solved.
Oh God.
But the issue is, kids are starting to get older, and they're gonna use their own credit cards.
Yeah. So my brother, he fosters kids like all the time.
Yeah.
And so like he was fostering. Oh God, crash the wall. He was fostering a couple of kids, and him and his wife went somewhere for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And they left them with another foster family that had like an Xbox 360 hooked up in a room, and it had their credit card information on it. And so the kids were just buying a bunch of crap on Xbox Live.
Really?
And I'm like, really? You would leave an Xbox 360 with your credit card just right there? I'm like, my daughter's 2 years old, and I won't leave a tablet in the room with her that has my credit card on it.
Like, if I had kids, I would not do that.
My daughter, literally 2 years old, can't spell her name, knows how to maneuver through the menu system of a tablet, and I know for a fact she could get to the buying thing of certain apps. So I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm leaving that with her. So I know for a fact she could do it. Even yeah.
Can I just thank your community, because they're all pimping my Patreon right now. So yes, guys, go pledge on my Patreon.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like I haven't made a video in like a month and a half. So yeah, absolutely, go check out Stika. He's a content provider that you deserve for sure.
Here's the thing. My video should have been done last week, but here's what happened. First, it's been super hot in Portugal. Like, it feels like I'm still in the middle of July, right? Because of how hot it is.
Do you have air conditioning?
Not in this house, I don't.
That is a fatal flaw in your infrastructure that you guys really need to address.
And the other issue is, I just got an infection on my wisdom tooth, so I've been under a lot of pain these past few days.
So I saw your tweet about that. So I got like all 4 of my wisdom teeth ripped out at the same time.
Oh.
And the craziest thing was like the next day I was fine, and like they gave me a whole bottle of like codeine and all this stuff, and I'm like, meh. And my mother was like at the time was like, hey, do you want these? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Hey Robert, what's up, man?
Let me.
Oh,
hey man, let me link it to my channel if you'd like.
Yeah, Robert, Stika is Portuguese.
Yes, I am. Let me link it to my channel if you want. Like I usually do reviews and small gaming documentaries. Tonka Joe, I'm talking Joe.
Yeah, certainly a uniquely.
Oh, sorry, wrong link. Yeah, damn it.
Certainly has access to uniquely European and/or also can give you kind of insight into the Brazilian market as well. It's pretty fantastic stuff.
Usually I do like documentaries on the Brazilian market and Portuguese market. The issue is there's not that much talk about Portugal, so I had to expand to Brazil.
Well, I feel like Brazil, because of their just psychotic tariffs on things, just opens up a whole new interesting market of concepts.
It is.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do like more videos on Brazil. It's just I have a lot of videos I want to do, but I need to have the time to work on them. But yeah, that's basically my channel, and that's basically what I do. As for my wisdom teeth, here's the thing: they never give me any problems, but this one suddenly decided to act up at the age of 32 for whatever reason.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
So like, I got mine removed at like 17.
Oh, okay.
Well, I got mine ripped out. I don't know, but for me though, like, so one of my wisdom teeth, when it came in without a top on it. so, so the root was just exposed.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
like, so the sheer act of just having them rip it out with like whatever screwdriver they were using, I was immediately in less pain than just having the tooth in my mouth. So it was fantastic.
Jesus, that sounds really fucking painful.
I don't know. It was like I had dealt with it for like over like a couple of years. I was like, whatever. That's a tooth. It's just hurts. And then they ripped it out. I'm like, oh my god, my mouth feels amazing. The fact that I just don't feel like constant pain.
Holy shit! That is freaking scary, man.
I don't know. If you just have it from the beginning, you're kind of like your base. What do you call it? Like your baseline for pain is just a lot higher. So you're like, oh, whatever.
Holy crap, man! You're a badass.
But then again, like I was doing this training thing with this guy, and he was doing like, so I'm going to show you some pressure points, and I'm going to hit you in the neck and knock you out. All right? I'm like, okay, cool. And so he's doing it, and like he was like nailing me in the neck. And he's like, oh, you're not getting knocked out. I'm like, am I supposed to be out right now? He's like, yeah, you're supposed to be unconscious right now. And I'm like, not unconscious. And he's like, yeah, I've done this on tons of guys. I don't know what's up with you. And so like.
And you're like, the secret is having a terrible wisdom tooth.
No, I don't know.
That's the secret.
I think it's just a part of my genetics and just being like a higher pain threshold or whatever. Because he just could not knock me out at all. Like he was punching me in the neck and all this stuff, and like could not knock my ass out.
Robert is saying the ability of humans to adapt to constant pain is incredible. Like I didn't know that. Like Jesus.
Yeah, my mother, like, she has Crohn's disease. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like this thing, genetic disorder where, like,
I know what it is. Yeah. My mom actually.
Oh, your
my
mother
mom actually has some. Not that, but it has like a variant of that.
Yeah, like, so my mother has this like psychotically high pain tolerance. So like
Yeah,
these
yeah,
doctors are
I
like, wow, you should be like screaming right now. She's like, what? This is like a 3 to me. And they're like, oh, okay.
I don't know how to translate this. That second time today, I don't know how to translate it is in English. What she has is okay, Google. It's telling me it's called ulcerative colitis, which is apparently it's pretty similar to Crohn's disease.
Okay. I should probably catch up with the chat here. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, man.
Let's see, Historic Nerd is fucking horse of man tranquilize. That was like the funniest days of my life when I was like this training seminar and this guy was trying to knock my ass out and could not do it, and I'm like I was like up in front of people. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, I'm not trying to embarrass you. I'm like,
that's amazing.
Just really was undermining his whole training thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, like Army Combatives, like the whole basis for it's like, oh yeah, here's like 5 different choking methods. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, okay, you're choking me, I'm not out, so it's gonna take a while. You gotta go way harder to get my ass under.
Yeah. You know what'd be funny? If you told me, bro, I'm only at half mast right now. You gotta choke me way harder than that.
I've done it in Army Combatives. It depends on like the class they're teaching. Like there was some schools where like, yeah, you guys gotta like, okay, we're gonna go around the circle. You guys gotta go 100%, take out your opponent. And I'm like, God, I fucking hate it because I'm really not into it at all. Like when I fight these guys, like I had this one dude like he was choking my ass out, and I'm like, harder, daddy, and he's like, what the fuck? He like backs off, and I'm like, ha, gotcha! And I'm like choking his ass out after that.
I'm sorry, that would have been amazing. Like, yeah. Are you choking yet? And you're like, well, I'm at half mast.
Yeah, like, nah, not feeling it yet, bro. Sorry. Yeah, I felt like I don't know. That's kind of funny. I felt really bad one time because I was doing a whole combatives course, and like there was an Egyptian officer that was there that was doing the training course with us, and like I was throwing his ass around, and.
Sorry, Gorilla Jones is saying Historic Nerd wipes his ass with sandpaper.
No, but so I felt really bad because I was throwing him around, and like I grabbed, like he was wearing his like nice Egyptian like officer uniform, and like I chucked his ass and just like grabbed on his, I just ripped his fucking uniform sleeves open. And I'm like, oh fuck, sorry, dude. Just like ripped it apart.
So basically, you're unkillable. That's
unchokeable, maybe, not
unkillable. Unchokeable.
Yeah.
How drunk are you right now, Ian?
Well, here's a bottle of wine and it's completely empty, so that's yeah. Put that drunk. Hey, Ethel Chip, how's it going, man?
Welcome to the stream. So basically,
I am a first lieutenant, Alexander.
Okay, so are you gonna open a second bottle?
Nah, I think we're good.
You're the only YouTuber I know who, instead of drinking water during stream, just drinks wine.
Who drinks water?
I drink water during my streams.
Never touch the stuff. Fish fucking it. Yeah. Kitten's a bummer as a pedal car.
Everything about him is manly.
It's been really funny. Like my daughter, for example, like genetically, of course, takes under me. So she's 2 years old, is bigger than most 3-year-olds. So I'm like, cool.
So basically, your daughter is gonna kick everyone's ass in high school.
Oh god, yes, I hope so. I'll smash people.
So like you wanted like to steal people's lunch money and like just be this really really huge bully.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you make them hate life.
So hi Daddy, how are you? Hi Pumpkin. Did you choke a bitch today? Yes, Daddy.
Oh, that's the way it should be.
Good girl.
Yeah. Oh, here's a weird thing. So like, I don't know if I told you this yet. I was on a business trip to Indianapolis for doing army training crap, and I stopped by one of like the weird retro shops there, and I bought this poster of Sonic the Hedgehog. Because my daughter, despite the fact that I really don't play or do anything Sonic related in my house, I have like I have the Sonic collectible figurine from the Sonic Mania case that came out in like whenever that was, like 2016 or whatever.
Yeah.
And my daughter just like immediately gravitated towards it. She's like, I wanted to hug it and all this stuff. So I brought her home a poster of Sonic the Hedgehog from that trip, and like it's like her favorite like toy. So this poster.
Oh god, she's a furry. I'm sorry.
No. She just loves Sonic because he's like adorable or whatever. So she has that like the poster. Like I have it in like hard plastic, so she can just carry it around. And so she just carries it around, and she like wants to go to sleep with it and stuff. And I'm like, oh crap. But I will say, Wish.com is pretty great in terms of the random crap you can buy, because I just bought her some like Sonic pillows, and I think will help her out instead of having to fall asleep with a poster.
Every time I check out something from Wish.com, I just always assume it's going to turn out like really worse than the pictures show.
Oh yeah, like Wish, it's always a gamble. Like I just, they had a whole thing where like, hey, buy this projector for $1, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. See what happens.
And then what do you get?
Oh, we'll find out. I actually just ordered it. They had a whole thing on there.
Okay.
It's a project. I read all the fine print to see what it said, and at no point did it say it wasn't a projector or a picture of a projector. So we'll see how it goes.
I have like a little cousin, and like she also really loves Sonic the Hedgehog. But there's a thing. She thought Sonic was a girl because when she played the games, but like the old Sega Genesis games, and for whatever reason, she just saw that character as a girl. So
really?
Maybe your daughter also sees it as a girl.
I don't know if she does or not, because I played like all the, because like I didn't really play Sonic that much, but now that I know she likes Sonic, I like have it installed on my phone and we'll hang out and just play Sonic games.
Yeah.
And my wife was home with her, and they started watching the old 1990s Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure my daughter understands that Sonic is a male character, but I'm not sure she cares.
Oh, okay. Well, if she saw the cartoon, then she probably understands it. Yeah, because my cousin only saw the Genesis games. I'm guessing she saw like that Sonic has like this really big hair on the back, and probably assumed it was like long hair or something.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure what her thought process is, but I just know she definitely likes Sonic.
Yeah.
And just will have conversations with me about it. So I'm like, all right.
Electronash is saying, speaking of sequels, does anyone else think the whole remake thing has gone too far now? Well, the remake thing doesn't bother me, but goddamn, did we get a lot of remasters these days? Everything's being remastered. I
don't mind remasters. At all.
Really, with me it depends. If it's like several games in one package, that's pretty good. If it's just the same game being sold again for $60, not so much.
I mean, like, I would pay like, I'd pay $100 for Omicron remastered. To be honest with you.
Why?
God, I don't know why. I don't know why you don't like Omicron. But again, you've only played it on the Dreamcast, which is arguably one of the hardest versions. Go get it on PC. Go buy it on Steam, and you'll probably enjoy it more.
Fine.
You can play it. You can play it at 10. It's like $8.
Is it? It's on Steam, really?
Yeah, you can get Steam for like I think I bought it for like $9.99.
I'd assume the game would not be on Steam because of the David Bowie songs.
The Daniel Sanders remaster or Framemeister?
Framemeister.
You know, I just cannot.
Framemeister.
I cannot justify a Framemeister. I just haven't done it.
Here's the thing. In my opinion, the Framemeister is only justifiable if you're a YouTuber, like the type who reviews games, like which you don't really do. You do more like documentaries.
So the funny thing, when I started, I would do like game reviews and stuff like that. But like I found like my normal format, I'm like I guess expand on a concept and kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't really use that much game footage, so I can't justify it.
So honestly, I don't think there's really a point of buying a Framemeister unless you're trying to be a game reviewer. Like the footage is better, but you're really not going to notice it that much when playing on a television because you're not standing right in front of it, right next to a television. There's like a few feet.
And even then, like I was looking at like I was looking at like an OSSC converter or whatever it is, like the newer one. And I was looking at footage that like exclusively showed it compared with like the cheap ass $30 one I have.
Yeah.
And my eyes, I don't know if I'm like blind or whatever, I cannot see a difference.
I can see a difference. At least when I use my converters, like my cheap converters, I could definitely, like, if you compare some of my early reviews on the Master System or Genesis with my current ones, I think you'll see there's a big difference between the Framemeister and the cheap $30 converter. Mm-hmm. But it's like I said, if you're just playing for fun, you're gonna get used to it really quickly, and the quality of the output it's fine. Like it'll be fine. You don't need anything else really.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it must be my eyes or whatever. I just cannot visually see the difference. I'm like, ugh. Or maybe it's just me being a cheap ass where I'm like, $250 for $30.
Okay, let me try and take a screenshot of like of a video I've made of using a cheap dollar converter versus a Framemeister, and let's see if you can tell the difference. Give me a second. Water margin. You know, one thing I started doing a lot is reviewing a lot of modern games for the Sega Genesis and retro systems.
I can never make that jump.
Simply because, well, I've noticed there's very little competition in that area. Okay, this is a good screenshot, I think. And let me see. So overall, what do you think of Star Wars on the Dreamcast?
I think this is actually like the best version of this game.
But is the game itself good?
Yeah, it's a good racer. I'm just unfortunately I'm buzzed enough right now. The game's just a bit harder. I can't remember how to make that jump, which just keeps murdering me. Now this is pod racing. Okay, let's switch to another title for a bit. Let me grab like Sega GT or something. Hang on. I'm gonna take my headphones off.
Oh, I could hear the Dreamcast being turned off. Yeah, that's another thing. The Dreamcast controller is always draining batteries and it loves to beep.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you. You were saying something.
I was saying, that's another thing about the Dreamcast controller. That huge beep because it's always consuming battery.
Oh, yeah. Freaking like
even you can't defend that.
Beep? I don't care about that. It's not like it bothers me. I don't know. It's not those. I guess maybe I'm just like too used to discomfort and a lot of other things. Where like the Saturn or the Dreamcast just doesn't bother me in a lot of the.
So basically, what you're saying is my life is pain.
Well, if you follow tenets of Buddhism, yes, life is suffering for a lot of aspects of it. And there are some things that just make you suffer a little less than others. I like the Dreamcast controller and the VMU. I just absolutely love it because, like, I remember my buddy got his Dreamcast like close to launch, and we were like raising chows just constantly. So like he'd bring his VMU to school, and we'd just constantly we'd just be playing the memory game just perpetually to get his chows leveled up.
You know, the chow is one thing I never really cared for in Sonic Adventure. I don't
Really?
know why, but
You
then
didn't like
again,
that?
I was never really into the whole Tamagotchi scene.
Yeah, I could see that. I felt like the whole chow adventure and the VMU aspect of that was just fucking awesome.
Like I remember kids were like buying Tamagotchis, and all I could think of was like, you know, I'd rather just get a Game Boy game. So I just
I don't know. I remember for me, I had a Game Boy growing up, and I kind of I never really liked the Game Boy as much, but I don't know.
Get the fuck out of my stream. Oh wait, it's your stream. Never mind.
Yeah, I'll put this out there. The Game Gear, I thought was a better handheld console. Fuck you.
Okay, so I'm placing on the chat and on both Skype and on the stream a link with a comparison between the FrameMeister and the $30 converter. See if you can spot the difference in quality. I know they're different games, but they're basically two reviews I made. One with the FrameMeister and one with the cheap converter.
The one on the right, the FrameMeister?
Nope, the one on the right is a cheap one.
Okay, yeah, this is not gonna.
Okay. Let me help.
The baseline here is unclear.
Okay, let me help you. Look at the sky on the right image. Do you see like jail bars, like really weird blue lines?
Okay.
That's an issue. That's not the game. That's an issue with the $30 converter.
Oh, the vertical bars.
Yeah, the vertical bars. Yeah. Whereas on the left, the image is okay. The image is cleaner. It's also less blurry.
Okay.
Less. That's basically the difference. But if you're playing a game on your television, you're not gonna notice most of it. It's only good for when you're capturing footage for a video.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, Johnny Rogers. I appreciate that. But yeah, you can definitely tell. Here's the thing. It's like I said. You can only tell if you're gonna watch the footage really close. If you're just playing a game on your television, most people wouldn't care. And it's definitely not worth the difference of $30 versus $400.
Yeah, I think for me, I look at it. I'm kind of I cannot justify the financial, especially with the FrameMeister being a discontinued product, right?
Yeah, it's discontinued, and it's a good thing I got mine when it did, because apparently it broke 3 days after the warranty ended, and they were kind enough to replace it for free.
Oh, that's cool.
But you know what happened then? It got stuck on customs when they sent it back.
What is with your country?
And they actually charged for it. They actually charge. Yeah, I agree, Alexander. The FrameMeister is not very reliable. I agree. It has some issues. But the thing is, if I'm going to get a new way of a new upscale converter, I also need to get a new capture card, because apparently Elgato does not get along with the FrameMeister.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. The FrameMeister is very weird.
Okay, where is a $10,000 car I can buy?
Sorry, I mean the Elgato does not get along with the OSSC. That's what I meant.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird. Whatever.
Okay, where? If I $10,000 car.
Ouch. Okay, so what do you recommend, Alexander? The Elgato is what I'm using. What capture card do you recommend?
Elgato is. So I use a Razor Ripsaw, which I freaking love.
Magewell. I do not know that brand.
Oh, Razor.
No, Razor. No. I'm reading Alexander's comment. Something called Magewell. I don't know that brand.
Yeah, that's probably like a card that goes directly in your motherboard, I imagine.
Oh.
Okay, where the hell
Yeah.
can I find just a car I can buy in this? Car dealer.
Gorilla Jones is saying, "Can we get Jimmy on the chat so he can put stick in his place?"
I think Jimmy and Stika would probably be working tandem with each other about their Saturn love.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Every time me and Jim are in the same place, we just bully Ian. Oh, thanks, Alexander. Compone Passario, Composite Passario, S Video, HDMI.
They just want to buy a car so I can race it, but apparently it's really hard to find a car.
I'll probably end up getting this, Alexander. Thank you. So, like, is this game the Sega's answer to Gran Turismo?
Oh, you gotta go used car. Here we go. There we go. It makes you humble yourself before you can buy a car.
but like, was this Sega's answer to Gran Turismo?
Probably. Because I remember, like, I think the Sega GT series, I think, ended up on the Xbox original.
Yeah, it did. I remember seeing them.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely in that line of games for sure.
Inigo Montoya is saying, "I just want to see Jimmy do his Stika impression while talking to Stika," and he's done that a few times actually.
God, that'd be funny as hell.
Gorilla Jones. Oh, Stika likes the Saturn? Okay, well, he's okay in my book then. High five. Or even be cheaper, just buy a capture card that can handle 240p, 480p, and RGB component. Well, I'm gonna have to check my options.
That's harder to find these days.
Oh.
Well, just finding a capture card that can do 240p is hard to find these days.
7 Battle of Doom is saying, "Buy Mitsubishi. They built the planes that bombed Pearl Harbor."
They did build the Zeros. Yep.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, like BMW, they built the Messerschmitts and the engines and all those things. Like the BMW logo is actually like the way it's designed is actually the spinning of a propeller.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So, how does this game handle when compared to Gran Turismo? Like, is it very realistic, or?
This feels way floaty.
Okay.
But I don't know. I haven't touched Gran Turismo in 20 years.
Because I remember Sega GT never really took off like Gran Turismo did. Like Gran Turismo or Forza did.
Yeah, I feel like Sega GT was on Dreamcast and then on the Xbox original. I don't feel like it went beyond that. I feel like some of their assets and components I think went into Project Gotham Racing. Maybe after that, I could be wrong. But I remember Project Gotham Racing being was a launch title for the Xbox, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And then you had like 3 more games that series, and then it died. You know, this definitely looks like a Sega racer because it seems like your car is standing still and the world is moving. Have you ever noticed that about old school Sega racing games?
That's just how warp physics work. The world moves around you. They're just too advanced.
Smilebit made Sega GT2 and Project Gotham. Oh, okay, there it is.
I still feel like this looks pretty freaking good though for this game generation though. But that's...
A bit of pop-in though.
I think it's a little bit, yeah.
Like I just saw like a huge ass mill pop up out of nowhere.
It's part of the charm. I don't know. What I would love to see, I remember like there's a couple of Dreamcast Facebook groups I'm a member of, where they every now and once in a while they constantly get in arguments about whether or not GTA 3 would work on the Dreamcast.
course it would.
Yeah, a lot of them are always like, nah, there's not enough RAM in the Dreamcast. I'm like, are you sure? I feel like...
What?
Like, Crazy Taxi is a huge-ass game that's on the Dreamcast, and I feel like that game is graphically more impressive than GTA 3 ever was.
I'm pretty sure it would have worked. I don't see why it wouldn't.
It might have had
I mean,
more,
maybe
more.
if you said like GTA San Andreas, okay, that game's a bit more complex, but the original GTA 3, yeah, it would work, I think.
Yeah, I would love to see if like someone could play. If I was ever a billionaire, I would definitely pay a random team of people to port that shit to the Dreamcast.
Like worst case scenario, it might have like fewer NPCs walking around, but I'm pretty sure it would work.
Yeah. Cheaper adapters, just see 40p. Yeah, I really, God, I would love to see a freaking Dreamcast HDMI mod up close. But alright, guys,
yeah,
oh yeah.
So sorry, Sanders Trevor is saying Shenmue had huge areas, which yeah, it's true, but it did hide the NPCs a lot. Like NPCs kept phasing in and out. So
yeah, but also I feel like the NPCs in Shenmue though are tremendously more complex than ones you saw in GTA 3.
True. That is true. That is true.
But yeah. But alright guys, the stream's going for a little over 3 hours, so I figured we're going to end it here. I want to thank you guys for hanging out as long as you have. And if you have not, definitely go check out Stika. I'm going to put your stuff in the chat here. Plug the crap out of me.
I'll place the link if you don't mind. Give me just a second.
Oh, do you think?
Where's my channel? And give me a second. Damn it, come on, YouTube.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like how you're just saying, yeah.
I'm buzzing on the wine.
There you go.
Fine.
Much better.
But alright, definitely want to thank you guys for hanging out as long as you have and celebrating the Dreamcast 20th birthday. Next year I can drink. So that'd be cool.
And long live the Saturn.
Flight of Portugal will cut you. Right.
The thing is, after this stream, I'm pretty sure you would. You would come here and cut me.
But alright. You guys have a fantastic night. Catch you later.
See you, folks.
Bye.